Hi, good day everyone. Steven here. Welcome. Um, Today I'd like to speak to you guys about unemployment through, or coping with unemployment through a critical illness or, um, you know, having chronic pain or something like that, where you're no longer able to work through no fault of your own, and you know, it really touches three areas of our lives. The most obvious being financial, also social and emotional. Now, it's something that I've personally have experienced, so I will touch on that as well. But before I do that, let me just go into it a little bit. Now, it can, on the emotional side, it can be a bit depressing, especially if it's a profession or a career that you enjoy. Something like a teacher, for example, where you have a lot of influence on those that you teach, your students. Um, you know, and how long you've been in the profession. If it's something that you really enjoyed and care about. Um, there's teachers that are just there for a paycheck, and there's teachers that really care about students. So, it depends what it is for you. Um, so, you know, when you're no longer able to do this at your full capacity, you know, uh, there tends to be a gradual, you could say, way out, or excuse me, option of how you get out. Like, sometimes it may be that you take gradual exit, meaning that you may do a less strenuous position. um, you may also have transferable skills, so you can do your job like in another department, for example, hopefully. um, or even if you're well enough, you might even be able to work from home, but that's not always the case, so sometimes you may have to give up your career altogether. Now, in my situation, I it's kind of that I had not long started the job, so I uh, I worked in the financial sector, and I worked at the bank for about 5 years, and I had just was going from the bank going into a more front, like the bank is, you could say, a broad financial services, but I was honing on just one particular service, which is mortgages. So I went to work for a mortgage company, and after I finished my training, then shortly after, my dad had passed away. Probably like 2 weeks into the job, brand new job, my dad had passed away. So I had taken time out for that, and then within a few months after that, I started, like, a few months to a year, I had started getting sick on a regular basis. Like, literally, 1 month I'd be working, and then I'd be in the hospital for like 3 weeks, and then need time to recover before I fully get back to work. And so when I went back to work, I had to, like, go through the training process all over again, and and then I'd get sick again, and then I'd be off for another month, and then they'd put me through training again. So after that happened, they're like, okay, go on short term. So I went on short term, which is 3 months, and then, but I still continued to get sick. So eventually they said to me, okay, well, just take time for yourself and get better. So they they did try, where they would let me, you know, do other duties or not as much work so that I can still be there, or even less amount of times per week. But because I still ended up in a hospital, eventually they just said, okay, well, you're gonna have to take a long-term disability. Now, for me, that I was kind of glad that I didn't have the worry, like my stress for work was gone, but then at the same time I had like financial worries because working, I was already almost living like paycheck to paycheck, so living on a percentage of my paycheck, like 60% of my paycheck, versus 100%, wasn't very helpful for me. So, but I get further into that a little bit later. Now, socially, that can be good or bad for someone, or for because our network of people, we spend more time at work than we do with our families. So most of the times our network of people is with our coworkers and stuff. So those social activities tend to be with coworkers, and once that's taken away, then we're a bit isolated and only at home. But where the positive side to that is that you spend more time with your family, and you're able to kind of like help out your partner a bit more, be there for the kids. If you have kids, you can do like household tasks that you had always put off because you didn't have time when you were working full time, and now that you're off, if you're well enough, you can do those tasks. So there's pros and cons to that, right? But financially, like I mentioned, you may have rent, you have a mortgage, car payment, insurance, that sort of thing, where those things are no longer fully getting paid, or I shouldn't say getting paid, but your full paycheck is no longer there available to you. Now, hopefully you have some type of insurance program where, like for your credit card, where if you're sick, you can only pay the minimum payment, that sort of thing, or even, yeah, the sometimes you could put off all your payments for a certain amount of time, but you'd have to call your credit card and make those type of arrangements if you have insurance. So if you didn't know that, then now you do know that that is available through your credit card insurance. Okay. Also make sure you have like mortgage insurance, so that your mortgage can also get you might only have to pay the interest, and you could skip payments for X amount of time, hopefully. Now, as I mentioned on the financial side, is that if you have kids, they're still gonna need things to kids gonna still need like lunches and clothing that they grow out of and stuff, depending on how long you're out of work. But those type of things you can't get out of paying. So but hopefully if you have a partner, then you guys can balance out the finances. And but some of the self management when you leave work is that you have more time for yourself, where you can like exercise, or you can do volunteer work if that's something that interests you, You know, you can get on a more scheduled daily routine. You could probably even sleep more, rest more, whatever is needed for you. You might be able to focus on a new career or go back to school, you know, learn new skills. Um, uh, you might be able to even get like financial counseling, you know, and you know, further your education, or you do like contract work. I don't know. There's a lot of options that you can do, but you can pursue whatever you're passionate about as well. You know, start your own business, even start a YouTube channel. But you know, whatever you're passionate about, and it kind of gives you more time. So there's pros and cons to this situation, but you know, if it's on the emotional side, you know, try to make sure that you balance things out, and you know, hopefully you have a good support system where a family's there to that you could talk to, and you know, remain positive about your situation. For me personally, this is actually, we're in October now, so this is actually like my 5th year that I've been on a long-term disability, and I don't know how long it's gonna last now that I've had all my surgeries and stuff. You know, surgery wasn't even an option for me at the time. I didn't even know I may have needed it, but and I wasn't expecting to be off of work for 5 years. That's, you know, the most I thought was maybe like a few months, but you know, thank God that my health has improved a bit, where I'm not in hospital as much as I was before. I think stress had contributed to a lot of my hospital visits, and the reason why I was getting sick so often. So but you know, the unfortunate thing in my situation is that I wasn't able to continue you know, living in my apartment because my finances were cut so much, and I started doing like payday loans just to kind of get by. You know, my instead of getting paid like every 2 weeks or semi-monthly, like on the 1st or the 15th of the month, I only got paid once a month, and that didn't last the whole month. Like, you know, after I got paid on the 1st of the month, you know, by like the 5th or the 6th, I'd be out of, and and I still had a whole 3 more weeks to go. So you know, I couldn't remain living. I started falling low on my rent and stuff like that, and getting eviction notices, like really bad, you know. But I had to move to another city where my family was, and unfortunately my kids are still in another city, like 4 hours plane ride away. So whenever I can, at least twice a year, I get the opportunity to go and visit them. And but we talk every day through technology now that we have, you know, internet and stuff like that. So but hopefully one day I'll be able to go back and live in the same city as my kids are. So yeah, but you know, I hope this information was good for you. It provided some value, and you know, just want to be transparent with you in my own situation, and you know, do what's best for you, what works for you in your situation. So you know, show me some love, give me a like, give me a share, and you know, share this video with someone else that you may know, and subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys soon. Okay, take care, have a great day, bye.